I drove out for a little solo mission last weekend just to go for a dive, and it managed to end up being a pretty epic trip. The weather was glass out and here we're just cruising around the islands. My boat was in for repairs, so currently I'm in my mate Brendan's boat, so if you're seeing this, cheers Brendan, it was a great trip. The day before, my mate ended up shooting a 30.8 kilo spano, and this area we have a lot of big Spanish cruising through, so that was my target for today. I got there dead on high tide, which means there is no run, so I was lucky enough to be able to throw the anchor and sit straight on top of the spot. It's about 15 meters right on top, and then the edges drop off to around 20, 25. This was my first drop of the day, so cruising straight down under the boat just to suss out what it's like, check out the viz and the current and whatnot. So here I got down to about 18 meters, I believe it was, and once I get down here, what I found just from this third person view footage is I don't really make my body small like you want to do. Ideally you want to try have your body nice and low on the reef, but as you see here, I clearly don't do that, so don't do what I do. Here I'm just sort of scanning around, looking left to right and praying that there might be a trout coming or maybe a big mackie coming through. Fortunately, this dive was pretty empty, so from here on, just start cruising back to the surface. Making sure to keep nice and small kicks to keep your body streamlined, and tuck the gun in and then go for the ascent. A bit later on, I'd done a drop and managed to find myself a really nice trout. There I was just having a quick scan to see if there's anything bigger, but that's all that was around, so got a nice shot into its head. And here I'm just pulling it up away from the reef just so it doesn't entangle me. Once it's up and I do those couple of high kicks, I can then just sort of lock in and relax and start swimming back to the surface. Luckily it wasn't too deep, so still got heaps of oxygen to play around with the camera and try to get some footage. I loaded up the gun, then went for a drop straight under the boat, and I found another nice trout. So once again here I just try to pull it away from the reef and start swimming up. Generally I like to keep my gun close to me, so as you can see I put my arm to the bands of the gun, just so at least then if a shark starts harassing you, you can at least start to poke it away and have some sort of defense. And as always, when you get the fish into your hand, the first thing you want to do is kill it. And then start the hike back to the boat. About half hour later, I was on my way down, untucked, looked up and seen a really nice Spanish come into range. So I threw my gun into my hand and then lined up a good shot in the cheeks and took that shot. I didn't stone it, and it did put up one hell of a fight. Here, it's just starting to peel line off the reel slowly, and it kicks in very soon. On these bigger mackerel, the ideal shot would be between the two fins mid-body. You have the hardest flesh there, but for some reason I decided to go for a headshot into the cheeks on this spano. You also have a very good holding shot there. Once I was on the surface for a couple seconds, this thing just started to take off, and man, it was an absolute nightmare to try and fight this big fish alone while also trying to be a cameraman. Probably the most difficult thing I've done. Here I'm just trying to pull in the line as quick as I can. I know there's a lot of sharks in this area and they will not hesitate to take your fish and have a crack at you afterwards. So right now I'm just trying to swim as hard as I can after this fish. I have my gun on my right shoulder in case I need it, and then I'm just jamming the Insta360 between my legs so I can try and film exactly what's going on. It does get a little messy in the end. I have line getting caught on the camera, around me, around my gun, and I'll try to explain that in a little bit of depth when it comes to it, because those are things that can end really badly if you're not cautious. Here the mackerel is running and I'm applying pressure with my hands, and it's just peeling that line through me and slowly dragging me down as I apply more tension. You don't want to be too hard with them, otherwise they can rip out, which is why you want a good shot to begin with. But ideally you need to get that fish into your hands as soon as possible. When fighting these mackerel, you want to make sure you are constantly swimming forward if possible. This means that all your line will go behind you and it will not float all around you for you to be entangled in. Mackerel also like to play games with you. They'll act like they're all out of energy, and then all of a sudden they will take off out of nowhere. So you've got to make sure you know exactly where that line is and not get any loops around you, because they can drag you under within a heartbeat. You got to be on top of your game when you get into this point, because this is where it all goes wrong. When they're that close to you, they just start to swim in circles and that line gets entangled all around your body. So I cannot stress enough how much attention you need to pay to that line. Once you get to this point, you need to get that fish into your hands and under control. And knife straight into the head. They can easily take off and drown you, so you need to make sure that you dispatch that thing. If they're kicking as well, they will just attract all the other creatures, which we do not want. If you do everything right, you will have yourself a really prized fish.
Had a quick solo run just around the islands this morning and managed to get a couple nice trout. Got these two nice trout this morning, and then to top it off, just smacked this nice spano. It'd be probably around 22 or so. As I was fighting it, I was probably in the water for 5 minutes getting dragged around, and there was a really big cod that came up next to him as well. Literally sitting on the back of the boat and a shark just started popping up. Let's have a look, eh?
For those of you that don't know sharks too well, this here is a sandbar shark, and they are easily identified by their massive dorsal fin. They always have a pointed head, and they're also like this sort of bronzy browny in colour. They can be a pest, but this one was pretty cruisy, so I was happy to throw in a bit of burley. You know when they're in hunting mode because they start moving real erratically, and also their pectoral fins go vertical opposed to horizontal.
So I just came back in around Humpy Island, and I'll just go around those rocks, I reckon, see if I can get some underwater footage sitting on a ledge. I think it'd look pretty cool, so that would be my plan. Pretty much end of the trip for me. I got my nice spano, got a couple trout, so I'm set. That's it, I'm happy. Sitting at zero right now. Let's see what we got. My guess would be around 22, but would be nice. 23. 23.25. Not bad. Not bad at all. Weather's looking good, so now I might cruise back in, have an early one and start filleting, I guess, and see what else I can do this afternoon.